The World Economic Forum estimates that depression and anxiety disorders cost the global economy $1 trillion per year in lost productivity.
You're listening to Working Forward, a Future of Work focused podcast from People Forward Network. These episodes pave the road ahead, helping us confidently step into the future as a leader who moves people forward. Let's go.
I'm Laurie Shakur, and this is Putting the Human Back in Human Resources. We're diving deep into the world of HR and leadership, exploring pivotal elements that shape workplace dynamics while unraveling the impact of positive leadership and sharing the significance of creating healthy workplaces where people can truly thrive. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Story time. I've had an up-close and personal relationship with mental illness. My earliest recollections include my mother having what I learned later was a nervous breakdown when I was 7. I recall the doctor saying, "Your mom needs rest. She's depressed." Depressed. I'd heard that word a lot before. My mother would often remind me that the pediatrician told her I was depressed and very sad for my age. Well, my mother's depression manifested in her body as obesities, diabetes, and Parkinson's disease. My father loved collecting things: books, pipes, newspapers, ornaments. I learned later that his love of collectibles was actually hoarding. My brother smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day and would often talk to himself and threaten to harm himself and others. My parents dismissed the threats with, if he really wanted to kill himself, then he would do it and not talk about it. Wow, talking about lacking compassion. But that's just how it was in our household. They would say, however, with compassion, he's just special. After a psychotic episode, he was hospitalized and diagnosed with having paranoid schizophrenia. He called me his first night in the hospital and asked if he could come home because, and I quote, "There are lots of crazy people here." While my family dynamics could be described as a lot, it was normal for me. I've always kept my childhood experiences private. On many levels, I was ashamed. I've spent years focusing on my own mental health and wellness. I'm no longer embarrassed of my childhood, nor the depression I experienced. In today's episode, we'll be focusing on positive trends in mental health at work and practical tips for those facing mental health challenges. Let's start with the stats. According to the World Health Organization, depression and anxiety disorders are common mental health disorders globally, with over 260 million people affected by depression alone. Mental health issues can significantly impact work productivity. The World Economic Forum estimates that depression and anxiety disorders cost the global economy $1 trillion per year in lost productivity. Wow. Work-related stress accounts for 37% of all work-related ill health cases in the UK. And burnout? Burnout is now recognized by the World Health Organization as an occupational phenomenon. Only 25% of employees feel that their employer provides enough support for mental health issues. And let's not forget the shift to remote work during the COVID-19 pandemic has brought its own mental health challenges. Challenges which include an increased feeling of isolation, difficulty separating work from personal life. 82% of remote workers in the US report experiencing some level of burnout, and 41% of remote workers say they feel lonely working from home. Nearly 9 out of 10 people with mental health problems report high levels of discrimination. Employers play a crucial role in supporting employee mental health. A supportive work environment and access to mental health resources can significantly improve employee well-being. For every $1 invested in mental health treatment, there is a return of $4 in improved health and productivity. 86% of employees would stay at a company longer if the company offered better mental health support. Now that we've reviewed the data, let's look at this issue from the perspective of our hearts. Studies show that childhood experiences, especially adverse ones, can significantly influence how we perceive the world, how we relate to others, and how we cope with stress. Traumatic events or chronic stress during childhood can lead to the development of maladaptive coping mechanisms and negative beliefs about oneself. These experiences can also alter brain development and affect the way we regulate emotions and handle challenges in adulthood. In the book titled, What Happened to You?, Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey delve into the profound impact of childhood experiences on our mental health and overall well-being. They encourage that instead of making assumptions and asking, "What's wrong with you?" they instead emphasize that understanding what happened to you is the healthier, more proactive question. This approach shifts the focus from labeling individuals to better understanding the context and circumstances that have shaped their lives. And one way to do this is to understand how our past events have shaped our behaviors, thoughts, and emotional responses. It requires self exploration with compassion and empathy for ourselves. It's critical that we navigate our own complexities of our past and that we each work towards a healthier and more fulfilling future. Solutions? Well, despite our progress, stigma and discrimination against people with mental health issues persist in many workplaces. And this discrimination prevents many individuals from seeking the very help and support they need. In my opinion, employers have a huge responsibility as custodians of humans working. The work environment plays a crucial role in mental health. It can make or break an employee. Employers should strive to create a supportive and inclusive workplace culture where employees feel safe, valued, and respected. This includes promoting work-life balance, fostering open communication, and addressing issues of discrimination and harassment. Workplace stress can have a significant impact on mental health, but employers can help by providing resources and programs aimed at stress management, such as employee assistance programs, mindfulness training, and workshops on resilience and coping strategies. You don't need a budget to take time out to encourage employees to breathe. You don't need a budget to encourage employees to hydrate and take breaks. Offering flexibility in work hours or remote work options can be beneficial for employees dealing with mental health challenges as well. Employers should also be willing to make reasonable accommodations, such as adjusting workloads or providing a quiet workspace to support employees' mental health needs. Providing training and education on mental health awareness and stigma reduction can help create a more supportive workplace as well. This can include workshops on recognizing signs of mental health issues, destigmatizing conversations around mental health, and promoting self care practices. For me, I found it particularly empowering to share with audiences my journey. I've received consistent feedback that by sharing my story, others feel comfortable and confident to share theirs. So, of course, leadership plays a key role in setting the tone for mental health support. Leaders should openly discuss mental health, encourage employees to seek help when needed, and lead by example in prioritizing their own mental health and well being. While employers play a key role, we each have personal accountability as well. Our self awareness can begin by gaining an understanding of what's impacted us, whether the impact of biological factors such as genetics, brain chemistry, or hormonal imbalances, or traumatic events such as abuse, neglect, or the loss of a loved one has played a role in your well being. Additionally, chronic stress, exposure to violence, or an unstable home environment, or personal factors such as personality traits, coping styles, and learned behaviors, these can all influence our mental health. So, by having awareness, we know more about what we need to keep ourselves balanced. So, for example, low self esteem, demonstrating perfectionism, or having negative thought patterns, that can contribute to depression and anxiety. But we can heal and we can make positive changes that favorably impact our well being. In my experience, it's truly required an understanding of our personal experiences and the causes, and taking healthy steps to self manage. But what if you already have a diagnosed mental health challenge? How do you first and foremost support yourself while communicating what you need for your well being? Here are a few of my suggestions. Open communication. It's hard to be vulnerable. I know firsthand it can be scary. There's the fear of being judged. But in my humble opinion, if you discuss your mental health challenge with HR or a trusted colleague or your supervisor, it's the beginning. Recognize what support you need to maintain your balance and be comfortable and confident in communicating what you need. Seek support. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait to receive the feedback that you're erratic or not showing up. Utilize employee assistance programs or the mental health resources available at your workplace. And if your workplace doesn't offer a program, there are many communities that have mental health centers that offer counseling, therapy, and support groups at low or no cost. These organizations often operate on a sliding scale basis based on income. And they're organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which offers support, education, and advocacy for individuals with mental health conditions and their families. And they often have resources and support groups available to the public. And there are many universities with psychology programs that have clinics which offer low cost or sliding scale therapy provided by graduate students under the supervision of licensed psychologists or therapists. And then there are platforms like BetterHelp, Talkspace, and Seven Cups that offer online therapy and counseling services that can be much more affordable than traditional in person therapy. And they often have financial aid options. Prioritize activities that promote your mental health and emotional well being. Activities such as exercise, meditation, connecting, and hobbies. Make those first and foremost in your plan for well being. And lastly, establish clear boundaries between work and personal life to prevent burnout. Prioritize your work, but also prioritize yourself. As we close out, remember, mental health is just as important as physical health. So together, let's work to destigmatize mental health issues by recognizing the importance of employee well-being and our individual experiences and uniqueness. After all, we are all in this together.
Thanks for tuning into Working Forward. If you like what you hear, please share it with others and make sure you're following the show to not miss an episode. We are available anywhere you get your audio. See you next time.